We are joined by Eric Eastman after the Appleton North Lightning pull out a 48-45 victory over the Kaukauna Ghosts in our broadcast on Tuesday night here on WHBY. And Eric, I thought the first half of basketball was sending basketball back about 100 years. It was very sloppy for both teams, but boy, you guys really came out in the second half, cleaned up your act quite a bit. You got the ball down to your leading scorer and really played a good second half of basketball.
I think you said it all for me right there. Honestly, did it look like we had 10 days off in the first half? It was a little rough start in the first half. We definitely looked a little confused, and it looked pretty rusty. But I do have to give Kaukauna credit. I mean, Coach Shallow does such a great job with his kids. He's got a really different team this year than he had last year, and they defend really well. They force you to do things that you're not comfortable doing, and that was as much of our problem as taking having a little 10-day layover. They did a really nice job of pressuring us out on the perimeter and getting us out of our comfort zone. But at halftime, I told the guys, the break is over. It's time to get going. It's time to feed our big man. Between Nate Otto and the rest of these guys getting the ball down there, as soon as we got it down there and he hit a couple shots, then lo and behold, they're diving down because they have to help a little bit more, and it frees up our perimeter guys for much wide open three-pointers. I mean, we stress how much easier a three-pointer is when the pass comes from underneath the basket. It just, you're squared up, you're comfortable, and that's pretty much what happens. So.
Eric, I thought you did a nice job in that effort to get the ball to your big man of spreading the floor and keeping everybody separate so that Van Handel had some room to work with.
Yeah, it was almost like we were trying too hard to have good spacing and get him the ball. And when we did that, we got complacent. We started to stand around. And when we did that, it was almost like we were holding hands. Like you said, it wasn't very good spacing. So once we got ourselves moving and we got the ball moving, then it freed up a lot in the low post. And we also finally got the ball up the floor in a hurry. Nate ran the floor a couple times, beat his guy down the court, and a couple of those post-ups were in transition. I thought that was really key. Anytime you can get an easy basket in the FAA, you got to look at it as a plus.
You get 13 off the bench from Otto, really a special performance. He had an 8-point third quarter that really was big for you.
He can do that. He can do that. He can really turn it on and score. There are other things that Nate and I know. We both know that he needs to work on to improve. But I'll tell you what, he played within the system. He did what we asked of him. Why Nate Otto got those three-pointers was because he got the ball into Nate Van Handel. And, he did that, and then he had those wide-open looks, and you could tell in his body language that he was going to knock those down. He had a spring in his step today.
I thought your guys really kept their cool. This was a difficult game to play because, outside they were calling touch fouls. Inside they were letting them bang. There wasn't a lot of consistency there. And that takes a special effort by high school players to be able to just go the other way and continue to play.
I thought our kids really were smart. They figured it out. They figured out what they could do and what they couldn't do, what they could get away with and what they couldn't. And I think both teams did that. It's part of the game. It's just as much a part of the game as the floor, as the hoops, whatever. The officials are out there, they're working their butts off, and you have different officials that are going to officiate different ways. And yes, I think our kids handled it really, really well.
All right, you pick up a third straight win. That's obviously very nice coming out of the break. You have Menasha coming up next.
Nope.
Final Lot coming up next. So, your thoughts on where your team is. You got to feel pretty good about coming into Kaukauna and taking one from the Ghosts.
It's like what I told you in our pregame talk. You have to win. If you want to take that next step in the FVA, you have to win these tough battles on the road and then maintain your home court. And, this is a tough place to play. Number one, it's just always been tough for Appleton North. And number two, again, Coach Shallow and Kaukauna, they put together a great product. So it's very difficult to win here. And to get a win against a quality opponent like Kaukauna, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good, especially having that layoff, being able to mentally battle through that first half and have that confidence to take care of business in the second half. And then, you saw it just like I did. Down the stretch, they made some plays. Casala made some plays down there. Big three, big put back. They make the basket, and then it tips out another three. And we could have folded and we could have missed our free throws, but instead, we knocked them down and pulled out a win. So yeah, I'm very pleased.
Well, I said to Justin on the broadcast, there was some coaching going on down the stretch there. I thought Mike Shallow did a nice job to, his kid's got to make the plays, but he's got to put them in a position to make the plays. You countered his moves, and it was really it was a fun basketball game to see in that second half.
Well, my coaching pales in comparison to Coach Shallow. He's been around a little longer than me. But yeah, we had to sub offense for defense and defense for offense. We got the ball to our correct players to shoot the free throws. And we made the majority of them down the stretch. Nate Van Handel missed those too, but he's a 77% free throw shooter this year. So I had no problem with him having the ball. And, it was a battle. It's great when players make coaches look good.
Eric Eastman, enjoy the win, and good luck on Friday night.
Hey, thanks so much for coming. Thank you.
48-45, it's Appleton North knocking off Kaukauna on our WHBY Tuesday night game.